And typically on Friday mornings, I do a ski day with a bunch of guys. You can see here, we do an executive ski day, and I want to be able to give you a great tactical idea. You as a founder, you as a chief revenue officer, and I took a screenshot of this article, so I'm going to kind of read it out. And I'm going to give you something tactical to be able to help. Let's kind of give the situation. So this was a LinkedIn post by a gentleman named Stefan Mays. I'm gonna actually tag him in this LinkedIn Live for us. And he wrote, "We learned yesterday that any additional meeting that is added into the sales process, the chance of winning the deal reduces by up to 90%. So think of it as this concept of Moore's law. Every year, technology gets twice as fast, twice as cheap. Okay. Well, this is kind of the opposite of this. Every time you add meetings into a sales process, it adds complexity. We'll bring in people into the buying committee that start to become detractors or for whatever reason. So he just kind of writes, avoiding one extra meeting in the sales process. Basically, it creates a multiplication table around 0.9, which ends up as 6.3 versus 5.6 if you're talking about kind of like the number of meetings over time. Crazy, isn't it? And fascinating. So he just talks about the law of diminishing returns. And as he goes further into this, he's actually got this great diagram, and it's this matrix. And that's why I want to tag this post for everybody. That you see that your sellers are systematically taking on more meetings because the customer asked them to. But a lot of it is predicated, and this is kind of the point of this post, I believe is predicated around the preparation that is happening for those meetings. And let me kind of back up. Here's the problem. You're asking whether it's your SDRs that are doing pre-qualification, you're asking your AEs to do qualification criteria, but they're jumping from meeting to meeting. So their switching costs are very high. They're super tired. And they don't see it as a great use of time because guess what? It's a $5 an hour task. So here's the crux of it. They're not doing it. They're basically just jumping from meeting to meeting. So they're walking in, not fully prepared, understanding why. Why does this customer want to have a conversation? Who's in the meeting? Who's not in the meeting? Who should be in the meeting? So we can ensure that if we're booking a meeting within a meeting, we're also qualifying, understanding, why isn't John in this meeting? Why isn't Susie in this meeting? They've done that due diligence in advance. The what insights have I learned about you that are going to control this conversation? And then how are we going to engage going forward? So this simple rubric is not actually happening. So what's happening is your sales professionals are extending sales cycles, not because they want to, it's just because it's becoming a natural course of business, because the first meeting is really such a discovery call that they're just peppering customers with questions and they're not actually getting into situation challenge resolution. They're not actually sweeping through from discovery and qualification all the way to solution and guiding the conversation into here's who we need to bring into the next meeting and why. So I'm going to share with you a solution for you, a tactile solution for you. Of course, I'm a humongous believer that sales professionals are asked to do this type of due diligence before every call because it's part of our sales process. That doesn't mean that it's a great use of that seller's time. It's a great outcome for the seller to know the information, but not a great usage and utility of the seller squirreling through data sites like Google and ZoomInfo and LinkedIn to capture this intelligence. So I'm going to share my screen. The tactile idea as I do this. So I'm sharing my screen now. This is called a pre-meeting preparation document, and you could sweep it from pre-meeting to post-synopsis. So as we take a meeting with a customer, a virtual assistant actually fills out this information in advance. And I look at this information and I study it before every call. So I know, why are they come in? Did they come in because of a signal? Were they referred? Did they come in as an inbound lead? Any detail that maybe they filled in a HubSpot survey or a contact us, or they've written me on LinkedIn or email. What is the context? Why are they potentially coming in as a lead? But more importantly, what other triggers, signals, insights can we discern that might be the reason for this particular meeting? So high growth, low growth. So this could be the reason. They've just hired new executives. They've done a merger and acquisition, or they're getting IPO ready. So those are key maturity events that are creating this opportunity. The next is the who. Who's showing up? Who's not showing up? Who's not showing up is almost as important as who is showing up. Because if certain people aren't in the room, then how does that dictate how you guide the conversation and how you guide the customer to who needs to be there based on your experience for best practices? The next is the what. This is a great invention by Steve Richard. It's called 3x3 research. You're finding 3 pieces of information in 3 minutes about the key stakeholders or the company that you're about to meet. So what you're looking for are, personal things. Did they run the Chicago Marathon, or did they just win an award? Are they in a lawsuit, or did they just do a merger and acquisition? And all the things that can help you as the seller connect the dots. And then ultimately after the meeting, you can use this information to think about how we're preparing for the next call. And then of course you can sweep this into your CRM with the meeting notes and the link. We use Google Sheets. The whole purpose of this is you're giving yourself the highest probability of at-bats. When your account executives are walking into a call, you're trying to reduce the time and velocity of that sales cycle as best you can. At Get Leverage, in the year 2023, when we started this business, our sales cycles were over 30 days long. I didn't know what I was doing. It was a brand new business. We have that to under 14 days. Why? Because at 100 at-bats, 100 sales qualified leads later, I've learned that talk track. I'm coming better prepared to calls. I now know who was there, who needs to be there. I'm guiding the conversation. I want this to be a 1 to maximum 2 touch close. If it goes beyond that, I've done a disservice to my own sales pipeline, and I've reduced the probability statistically by Stefan's particular LinkedIn post that is going to be the outcome. My close rate, sales cycle of SQL to close right now is 52%, but I'll bet you if I went in and studied a cohort of extendedly long deals, I'll bet you it's not 52%, because I didn't come prepared to the call. I allowed the customer to dictate this is going to be all the different people and all the different meetings we're going to have, which don't serve helping them get to their outcome the way that they want to get to their outcome. They're just used to the bureaucracy of bringing people from call to call and stalling. You can help guide that conversation. So this is an excellent opportunity for a sales support as a service agent who is doing this call preparation. We do this for customers. Every time they walk into a call, they're walking into a call prepared. So